It's Juvenis.
Distinguished members of the National Assembly, our power sector reforms still remains a work in progress. Although we have increased generation capacity significantly, we still have challenges with the transmission and the distribution networks. That said, I am pleased to announce that since 2015, the Transmission Company of Nigeria and Niger Delta Power Holding Company have added 1,950 megawatts of 330 to 132 kV transformer capacity at 10 transition stations, as well as 2,930 MVA of 132 to 33 kV transformer capacity to 42 substations nationwide. With these additions, the transmission network today can handle up to 7,000 megawatts. The key bottleneck now is the distribution network, where the substations cannot take more than 5,000 megawatts. This is containing power delivery to consumers. We are working with the privatized distribution companies to see how to overcome this challenge. Nigerians should be rest assured that this administration is doing all it can to alleviate the embarrassing power situation in this country. Furthermore, to sustain the continued expansion of generation capacity and enhance evacuation, we approved a payment assurance guarantee scheme which enabled the Nigerian bulk electricity trader to raise 701 billion naira. This assures the generation company of up to 80% payment on their invoices. This intervention has brought confidence back into the sector, and we expect additional investment to flow through, particularly in the gas production sector. Distinguished members of the National Assembly, this administration is committed to the development of green alternative energy sources. To date, we have signed power purchase agreement with 14 solar companies. We also approved the completion of the 10 megawatts wind farm in Katsina State, a project that was abandoned since 2012, and B, the concession of 6 small hydroelectric power plants with a total capacity of 50 megawatts. To enable the successful take-up of these and future green projects, I am pleased to inform this distinguished assembly that the federal government will be launching the first African sovereign green bond in December 2017. The bond will be used to finance renewable energy projects. We are very excited about this development, as it will go a long way in solving many of our energy challenges, especially in the hinterland. On rail, we recently received 2 additional locomotives and 10 standard gauge coaches for the Abuja-Kaduna rail line. These will be deployed for the new non-stop express service between the 2 states that will only take 1 hour and 15 minutes. This new service will complement the existing service currently in place. We plan to commission this by December 2017. We have also kick-started the abandoned Itape-Ajakuta-Warri rail line. This project has been on for over 17 years. We had to take some drastic measures, but I am pleased to announce that work is going on, and we expect to commission this service by September 2018. This service will start with 7 standard gauge coaches. The situation at Apapa Port Complex is a top priority for this administration. The delays due to congestion and their adverse impact on business operations and costs is a key concern to our government. As I mentioned earlier, we are partnering with the private sector to fix the road. We shall do the right thing, considering we will not cut corners. In addition to the road, we have also commenced the extension of the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line to connect Apapa and Tinkan Island port complexes. This project will significantly ease the congestion at the ports and enhance both export and import operations. This project shall be completed by December 2018. Already, working with the private sector, we have repaired the Apapa Port narrow gauge line, which is currently being used to evacuate goods from the port, thereby easing congestion. As we all know, sometimes doing the right thing takes time and requires sacrifices. I am therefore appealing to all stakeholders to work with us in ensuring we deliver a solution that we will all be proud of. Certainly, the infrastructure requirements to reposition Nigeria for the future is huge, and our resources are limited. Government, therefore, will pursue private partnership to maximize available capital and development impact. In the next fiscal year, we will also establish 7 tertiary health institutions across the country through partnership with our Foreign Wealth Fund and other private sector investors. The agricultural sector played a crucial role in Nigeria's exit from recession. Today, it remains the largest employer of labor and holds significant potential to realize our position of repositioning Nigeria as a food-secured nation. We will consolidate on existing policies and develop new ones to ensure the numerous value chain challenges in the agricultural sector are addressed. As I mentioned earlier, several investors have developed significant capital in the production and processing of rice, sugar, maize, soya, cassava, yams, potato, oil palm, rubber, and poultry, to mention a few. We are also seeing increased investment in the agro-inputs manufacturing sector, such as fertilizers. We are determined to protect these investments and encourage more. Food security is an important aspect of this administration's national security agenda. Any person involved in smuggling of food items is a threat to our national security and will therefore be dealt with accordingly. A committee chaired by the Vice President is working on this matter. A key part of their work will be the reactivation of the Badagry Agreement signed between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin in 2003. This agreement, which was abandoned by previous administrations, established a mutually beneficial framework for the two neighbors and tries and allies to partner in tackling smuggling and other cross-border crimes. I would like to assure investors in the agricultural value chain that the menace of smuggling will be handled decisively. Further support investors and state government. We will accelerate the establishment of at least 6 staple crop processing zones. In the first phase, this initiative will develop infrastructure for the production, processing, and storage of strategic commodities. The focus is on backward integration for grains, horticulture, livestock, fisheries, and sugar, as well as exportable commodities such as cocoa, cassava, and oil palm. During 2017, the country had a number of disease outbreaks such as meningitis, yellow fever, monkeypox, and Lassa fever. I would like to commend the federal and state ministries of health for their selfless service and timely responses to certain these outbreaks, to contain these outbreaks. I would also like to thank the World Health Organization, the Global Fund, and UNICEF for their continued support during these trying times. This collaboration was a key factor in the low mortality rates experienced. To further improve our response to such outbreaks, we are working to upgrade our integrated disease surveillance and response system. This will further enhance the efficiency of our diagnostic and clinical management processes. In this respect, I urge this distinguished House to expedite the passage of the bill for the Nigerian Center for Disease Control to enable us to consolidate on the necessities, on the successes recorded to date. I am pleased to inform you that we have recorded tremendous success in the implementation of the federal government social investment program, especially over 4.5 million primary 1 to primary 3 pupils in public schools are being fed under the school feeding program. B, over 200,000 unemployed graduates have been employed under the N-Power scheme in education, health, and agricultural sectors. Over 250,000 enterprises have benefited from the sum of 12.5 billion naira, which has been distributed to entrepreneurs to expand their businesses. And D, over 110,000 households are currently benefiting from the conditional cash transfer program across the country. The 2017 budget of recovery and growth was based on a benchmark oil price of $44.5 United States dollars per barrel, oil production of 2.2 million barrels per day, and a naira to United States dollar exchange rate of 305. Based on these assumptions and total revenue of 5.084 trillion naira was projected to fund aggregate expenditure of 7.441 trillion naira. A projected fiscal deficit of 2.356 trillion naira was to be financed mainly by domestic and external borrowing. One revenue performance: collections were 14% below target as of September 2017, mainly due to the shortfall in non-oil reserves. A key revenue shortfall was from independent revenues. Only 155.14 billion naira was remitted by September 2017, as against the projected pro-rate sum of 605.87 billion naira. This represents a 74% shortfall, which is very disappointing. This recurring issue of under-remittance of operating surpluses by state-owned entities is absolutely unacceptable. You will all recall that in September 2017, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board announced that they were ready to remit 7.8 billion naira back to the government. The shocking discovery was that in the last decade, JAMB only remitted only aggregate of 51 million naira. This clearly illustrates the abuses that occur in state-owned entities, as well as their potentials for increased independent revenues. If only people would do the right thing. We all need to play our role to ensure the right thing is done. I would also like to remind Nigerians that the whistleblower lines are still open. Accordingly, I have directed the economic management team to review the fiscal profiles of these agencies to ensure strict compliance with applicable executive orders and financial regulation. There may be a need to consider a review of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and the executive will be approaching the National Assembly on this issue in due course. On the expenditure side, a total of 450 billion naira of the capital vote had been released as at the end of October 2017. With your support for our funding plan, our target is to release up to 50% of the capital vote for ministries, departments, and agencies by the year's end. We have prioritized payments of our counterpart obligations on our concessionary loans, as well as funding of critical infrastructure and other projects with socio-economic benefits. Furthermore, ministries, departments, and agencies have made provisions to carry over to 2018 capital projects that are not likely to be fully funded by the end of the year 2017 to ensure project continuity. Regrettably, the late passage of the 2017 budget has significantly constrained budget implementation. As you are aware, the 1999 Constitution authorized necessary federal government expenditure period to the 12th of June 2017, when the 2017 Appropriation Act was signed into law. This year, we have worked very hard to achieve an earlier submission of the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper and the 2018 appropriation bill. Our efforts were to avail the National Assembly with sufficient time to perform its important duty of passing the appropriation bill into law, hopefully by the 1st of January 2018. It is in this spirit that I solicit the cooperation It is in this spirit that I solicit the cooperation of the legislature in our efforts to return to a more predictable budget cycle that runs from January to December. The 2014-18 budget proposals are for the budget of consolidation. Our principal objective will be to reinforce and build our recent accomplishments. Specifically, we will sustain the reflationary policies of our first two budgets. In this regard, the key parameters and assumptions for the 2018 budget are as set out in the 2018 to 2020 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. These include benchmark oil price of United States $45 per barrel, oil production estimate of 2.3 million barrels per day, including condensate. C, exchange rate of 305 naira to United States dollar for 2018. D, real GDP growth of 3.5%, and E, inflation rate of 12.4%. Based on the above fiscal assumptions and parameters, total federally collectible revenue is estimated at 11.98 trillion naira in 2018, such that the three tiers of government shall receive about 12% more revenue in 2018 than the 2017 estimate. Of the amount, the sum of 6.387 trillion naira is expected to be realized from oil and gas sources. Total receipts from the non-oil sector are projected at 5.597 trillion naira. The federal government's estimated total revenue is 6.607 trillion naira in 2018, which is about 30% more than the 2017 target. As we pursue our goal of revenue diversification, non-oil revenues will become a larger share of total revenues. In 2018, we project our oil revenues of 2.442 trillion naira and non-oil as well as other revenues of 4.165 trillion naira. Non-oil and other revenues resources of 4.165 trillion naira include several items, including share of companies' income tax of several 109.427 billion naira, share of value-added tax of 207.9 billion naira, customs and excise receipts of 324.9 billion naira, federal government independent generated revenue of 847.9 billion naira, federal government share of tax amnesty income of 87.8 billion naira, and various recoveries of 512.4 billion naira, 710 billion naira as proceeds from the restructuring of government's equity in joint ventures and other sundry income of 678.4 billion naira. A total expenditure of 8.612 trillion naira is proposed for 2018. This is a nominal increase of 16% above the 2017 budget estimate. In keeping with our policy, 30.8% of 2.652 trillion naira of aggregate expenditure, inclusive of capital and statutory transfers, has been allocated to the capital project. We expect our fiscal operations to result in a deficit of 2.005 trillion naira or 1.77% of GDP. This reduction is in line with our plans under economic recovery and growth plan to progressively reduce deficit and borrowings. We plan to finance the deficit partly by new borrowings estimated at 1.699 trillion naira. 50% of this borrowing will be sourced externally, while the balance will be sourced domestically. The balance of the deficit of 306 billion naira is to be financed from proceeds of privatization of some non-oil assets by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. The proposed 8.612 trillion naira of 2018 aggregate expenditure comprises a recurrent cost of 3.494 trillion naira, debt service of 2.014 trillion naira, C, statutory transfer of about 456 billion naira, D, sinking fund of 220 billion naira to retire maturing bond to local contractors, E, capital expenditure of 204.28 trillion naira, excluding the capital component of statutory transfers. 456.46 billion naira was provided in the 2018 budget for statutory transfers. The 5% increase over last year's provision is mainly due to increases in transfer to Niger Delta Development Commission and the Universal Basic Education Commission, which are related directly to the size of oil revenue. We are closely monitoring our debt service to revenue ratio. We shall address this ratio through our non-oil revenue generating drive and restructuring of the existing debt portfolio. Presently, domestic debt accounts for about 79% of the total debt. Our medium-term strategy is to reduce the proportion of our domestic debt to 60% by the end of 2019 and increase external debt to 40%. It is noteworthy that rebalancing our debt portfolio will enhance private sector access to domestic credit. In addition, annual debt service costs will reduce as external debts are serviced at lower rates and repaid over a longer period than domestic debt. A substantial part of the recurrent cost proposal for 2018 is the payment of salaries and overheads in key ministries, providing critical public services such as 510.87 billion naira for interior, B, 425.01 billion naira for education, C, 422.43 billion for defense, and D, 269.34 billion naira for health. The allocation for these ministries represent significant increases over votes in previous budgets. Personnel costs in projected to rise by 12% in 2018. Although we have made substantial savings by registering ministries, departments, and agencies on the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System platform, the increase is mainly due to provision for staff promotion areas and recruitment by the military, police, force, and paramilitary agencies. Furthermore, I have directed agencies are not to embark on any fresh recruitment unless they have obtained all the requisite approvals. Any breach of this directive will be severely sanctioned. Overhead costs is projected to rise by 26 billion naira in 2018, a total increase of about 12%, reflecting inflationary adjustment. Ministries, departments, and agencies are required to adhere to government regulation. To consolidate on momentum of 2017 budget's implementation, many ongoing capital projects have been provided for the 2018 budget. This is in line with our commitment to appropriate fund ongoing capital projects to completion. By allocating 30.8% of the 2018 budget to capital expenditure, the federal government is also demonstrating its strong commitment to investing in critical infrastructure capable of spurring growth and creating jobs in Nigerian economy. Key capital spending allocation in 2018 budget are A, power, works and housing, 555.88 billion naira. Transportation, 263.1 billion naira. C, social intervention programs, 150 billion naira. D, defense, 145 billion naira. E, agriculture and rural development, 118.98 billion naira. F, water resources, 95.11 billion naira. G, industry, trade and investment, 82.92 billion naira. H, interior, 63.26 billion naira. I, education, 61.73 billion naira. J, universal basic education commission, 109.06 billion naira. K, health, 71.11 billion naira. Federal Capital Territory, 40.3 billion naira. M, zonal intervention project, 100 billion naira. N, northeast intervention fund, 45 billion naira. O, Niger Delta Ministry, 53.8 billion naira. P, Niger Delta Development Commission, 71.2 billion naira. As I had previously indicated, we aim to consolidate on our achievement in 2017, we shall meet our counterpart funding obligations. We shall complete all ongoing projects, and we shall carry forward all strategic projects that were budgeted for but which were unable to kick-start due to liquidity challenges. Later passages of the budget prolonged contractual negotiations and other matters.
We thank you for commenting on our videos. Please keep commenting. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so for regular updates. Keep watching Juvenis and keep buying Juvenis.
Juvenis is published bi-monthly by Buhari Communications Limited. For enquiries, event coverage or advert placement, call 0803 360 8271, 0805 787 1199, 0702 811 3638 or 0808 152 4499 or visit www.juvenis.buhari.net. Juvenis Magazine, inspiring the young at heart.